Well, it's true. Sister Unity here. I was somehow elected or just dropped into the role for the Los Angeles Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence of keeping hold of the vast number of ritual objects and altar pieces that we use on our altar and in our ceremonies and rituals. It's been 23 years with a box full of them. And here they all are. Might be a bit of a long video, but it's important, I think, to leave this historical record so I don't have to keep repeating myself every time we have a retreat. I'll get the box. Here is the sacred reliquary from Office Depot of the sacred objects of the Los Angeles Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. See, it even tells you that on the lid. Sacred. Let me just pop this sucker. Ooh, girl! The sacred altar cloths of the Los Angeles Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Sick. Sister Tragedy Ann, after she became fully professed, actually sewed these by hand herself. She wanted to make altar cloths. Oh, I'm getting all the incense and perfume from the box now. It's delightful. She wanted the house to have altar cloths that we could use over and over again and that looked really nice and special for us. So she made these and donated them. And here is our altar cloth, or part one of our altar cloths. Now, computer screens can vary. It looks a little navy blue on mine. I assure you it is a dark purple. It looks bluey on my screen, bluey purple, but this one is, it's a dark purple, leaning towards the warm end of purple. And you can see it's got a kind of, what would you call that, a brocade or chintz or something. It's, you know, like upholstery. There is the sacred altar cloth for our altar. And it's hella long, because you don't know what kind of table you're going to get. We've had instances where we get those big, wide, long cafeteria folding tables, and we've had instances where, honey, it's a 2-shelf bookcase this wide. So we just fold it up and use it in whatever circumstance we find ourselves. Because a lot of what the sisters do is, you know, mobile, on the road. We don't have an actual convent. We've got boxes in people's houses, so we have to be able to adapt. Here's part two of our altar cloths. And this is straight up Sister Tragedy Ann. She's like if a goth was a supermodel with a punk band from outer space. This lies over the purple cloth. And on each end, it has a triangular ending with this beautiful tassel on the end. So that hangs off the end of whatever table, or you could fold it and have it hang off the front. You know, it's all improvisational, but, oh look, I'm in a mosque, and I'm a woman, so I have to stay behind the fenced area while the men get the main area, because that's fair. Honey, you can critique my religion, I'm gonna critique yours. So this goes over the purple one you just saw. This is an orange ostrich feather. Shocking, I know. You'll never guess who donated it. This is in here for a talking stick kind of a function. When the radical fairies hold heart circles, or the sisters do the same thing, but we call it a forum, we use a talisman, and it's either passed around the circle or it's left in the middle, and people can walk in and get it. And whoever, whether it's passed or obtained, whoever holds it gets to talk. and the rest of the circle listens. There's no whispering, no cross-talking, no comparing notes, no cracking little fun jokes, no ribbing like we usually do in our meetings. It's important to hold a safe, silent space so that the person who's talking knows they are free to unburden their heart and mind however they need to. It's so important that we give each other space, hold space you would say, so that people can say, however smart, however truthful, however mendacious, however ridiculous, what it is that they need to say. Because, and you can do it because, you know you're going to get your turn to hold the talisman and to say at length what you need to say. So this we use in a very tense time in our house, when we had to decide how to handle several of our members who had fairly much betrayed us. And what did that mean to us, and why did they do it? So I thought to donate this as the talisman for that, because it's a feather and it's light. And I thought in this heavy, heavy circumstance, it might be nice to have something soft and gentle and light. This was donated by Sister Rusty at one of our annual retreats. I will tell you, having annual retreats has saved our asses countless times, because we get away and we get to have fun and refresh as an organization within the confines of the organization. But more than that, we get to drink and make art and laugh and get in our jammies and do facials and hold workshops together and out of our makeup, and just to be ourselves and learn each other. It's so healthy. So we always have a little bar set up, and Sister Rusty brought a red velvet Buddha bank and put it on the bar. And so now fuzzy red velvety harlot colored Buddha sits on our altar. I don't remember where this cloth came from. I think someone donated it, and because I'm the keeper, I decided to use it to wrap things in that needed some protection in our sacred reliquary. But this one holds a very special other cloth. And the reason that I wrapped it is because I wanted its energy to stay contained and concentrated, and also I didn't want it to get dirtier than it already is. This red cloth is the red cloth used by every single Los Angeles sister of Perpetual Indulgence who has ever taken our sacred vows. Every single one of us has been wrapped in this red cloth, or in a couple of our ceremonies, hidden behind it. They've been wrapped in this cloth, put together, I believe, by Sister See Me, Feel Me, Touch Me, who made our coronets and our traditional habits. And they have repeated their vows while wrapped in the cloth. Now, here's the thing about our vows. A lot of other houses have very detailed, lengthy vows with all the bases covered. I pledge to support my community. I pledge to support and be loyal to my fellow sisters. I pledge to never take myself so seriously that I forget to have fun, and so on and so forth. We all knew these very important elements, and we asked our Reverend Mother at the time, Sister Gladass of the Joyous Resurrection, who had been a sister in San Francisco and knew everything about being a sister. She was genius in helping us get started. We asked her to write these all-important, sacred, lifetime vows before our very first profession ceremony, the ceremony where I took my vows. Well, we wrote a ceremony for One of us wrote it and directed it at the other's behest. And it was performed. And the day of the performance, we all got ready. We all made wedding dresses and wedding veils, or actually they weren't wedding dresses. They were our traditional habit that we all wear is the same. It's all white with a black scapular and a white bib and a black veil. And we all put those on, but we didn't wear the hoobie-doobie just yet. We wore a wedding veil. There's some other spiritual tradition that does that somewhere. And we processed in for the ritual. And we kept asking, the whole day we asked, Reverend Mother, have you written the vows? Reverend Mother said, yes, I've written the vows. Each week before that, for months ahead, Reverend Mother, have you written the vows? Yes, sisters, I've written the vows. We processed in for the ceremony. The red cloth lay on the floor. Sister Candy, the first among us, the founder, lay down on the floor. We wrapped her in the red veil, in the red cloth. We lifted her up into the air, each of us holding a different part of her body. We raised her up. Reverend Mother removed her wedding veil, placed her hoobie-doobie with black veil on her head, and gave her her vows. She said, Sister Candy, repeat after me. I am a nun. I am a nun. You'll get the rest later. Those are our vows! And have been ever since. We raised Sister Candy all the way over our heads and turned her in a circle, and we set her feet first down on the earth and unveiled her to reveal the newly professed Sister Candy. She announced her name to the world and went on to wreak havoc and destruction ever since. Every one of us who's taken our vows has done so contained in this cloth. This is the most sacred object in our organization. This bag held the nutsack of Sister someone. Sorry, I can't remember everything. I think it was used in a novice project, or when a novice came up for fully professed, they gave us a gift wrapped in this bag or something. It's a gift, it's not a bribe. We'd never accept bribes. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, we don't do that. But this is a cowbell made in India. I donated it to the house myself for that ritual I just described because we needed a bell, we needed sound to punctuate various parts of the ritual and give us clues about when to turn right, when to turn left, when to do this, that, when to set Sister Candy down, when to set her on fire, when to take her ashes and mix them into a chocolate pudding and feed to the public. So this is what we used. And Sister Rhoda Kill, our very first postulant, rang this in that first ritual. Now we keep it and use it for various performances and other rituals. It's our ritual sound maker, our ritual bell. Sometimes if someone is screwing someone else, like at a sex party or something while they're a nun, we call it the bell of the ball. Okay, that was terrible. I'm so sorry. Just skip over that part. Our altar was set up in 2006 in Plummer Park in West Hollywood for the 2006 conclave, the height of which was a ritual in front of the Oscars Theater, the Dolby Theater where the Oscars are, on June 6th, 2006. So 666, it was the Devil's Conclave in the City of Angels. And on that altar, sisters, over 100 sisters from around the world, left ritual objects that they had brought to the conclave that became part of our altar. Also, over the years at retreats and other ceremonies, our own sisters have left objects that meant something to them, something about themselves or their sisterhood or how they profess our mission, and they left those on the altar and they've become objects that are part of the altar. and their meaning will need to be explained by them themselves, because, like this one, I've completely forgotten who brought it and what it's for, but it is a hair clip. So I'm going to pause now while that sister, if she's still with us, explains the meaning of this object to the rest of the house. Okay, pause the video if you haven't done explaining. I'm moving on. This was left by one of us who's a sister on our altar. It has meaning for them. If you're listening to this video, please explain it or put it in the comments below so that posterity will still remember the meaning of these anal beads. I'll pause for you to do so. Okay, thank you. That's all right. My floor is caretaking the sacred objects in the best way possible. I said in another video that I was going to do this about the LA objects and that there'd be a lot of sacred shit. Well, here it is. This is the sacred poo of the Los Angeles Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Allow me to open the reliquary. It's only opened once every 1,000 years. Well, the jar certainly behaves like that's true. I'm worthy. The sacred... That was intended. The sacred poo has spoken! Bow before the sacred poo! Hey! I'm not Mr. Hanky! He owes me money, motherfucker! You will notice there's blue on the sacred poo and a little bit of white on the edge there. Our very second production, stage production, was called Sin, as explained by the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And Sister Tragedy Ann, again, so ritual, oh, sorry, don't have a lighter anyway. She did this shtick where she was gluttony. She had a cart ladled high with Hostess snowballs and cupcakes and ding-dongs and shit. And it was pulled across the stage by a rope, and she followed after it. She's a skinny little bitch. And she followed after it, shoving them as fast as she could into her face. Crumbs everywhere, frosting everywhere. It was hilarious. And then later on in the show, we had a Q&A. And the audience had multiple choice sheets, and they had to check off which multiple choice answer fit the scene that we portrayed on stage. Well, one of the scenes was Sister Candy, who came out with a power bar that was squished up. Realistic, isn't it? And she just walked out on stage and squatted and did this. And then just dropped the poo behind her on the stage, fell between her legs onto the stage. Oldest trick in the book. We've all done that when we were in junior high school, I'm sure. The audience erupted in disgust, much to our delight. Well, here's the thing. I was narrating the whole leading the quiz on stage at a podium with a clipboard, and I had actually directed the play. I neglected to block in someone to clear the poop off the stage. So there we are on opening night, and the audience is watching, and we have to go on, and it's just sitting there freaking everybody out. And so I called out for assistance. I said, "Excuse me, could one of the sisters please remove the poo from the stage? May we please have the poo removed from the stage?" And bless her instincts, her lack of hesitation, her genius, Sister Tragedy Ann didn't miss a beat. The very next second, she walked on stage, striding in her silver platform boots, stopped in front of the poo, looked down at it, picked it up, regarded it, and then ate it. The audience went fucking nuts. Bananas. You can still see the blue from her lipstick. That was her color, turquoise. So it was so hilarious. It was such a high moment for us. And it represents the audacity of imagination, the audacity of humor, that we dare to be this free, this funny, this weird, and this true to our own shit that we make up, that we have enshrined it on our altar in a reliquary. Because those things are important, and they're what we do. I did not just hit the Buddha with the Sacred Poo reliquary. These are sacred ashes and charcoal from one of our sacred fires, in one of our rituals, or perhaps from one of our retreats. I apologize, I should know the meaning of them, and it has been lost in the sands of time, which is currently what fill my head. There's a little origami swan in there, crane in there, that was made by Sister Buffy. And Sister Buffy is an origamist. There's polygamists, there's bigamists, and there's origamists, and she's one of those. And it has a relevance to the ashes, and so I'm hoping, Sister Buffy, that you will comment on the video and remind us the importance of making an ash of yourself. This is Fred's sister. Fred lives somewhere. I think Sister Electra may have the actual Fred. Fred is a chicken. Fred is the dead name of a chicken who has now transitioned. I think the new name is, or the name for who they truly are is Pat. Just recently they wrote us, a month ago, they wrote us to say that they'd completed their transition and would prefer us to use the new name, not the dead name. Fred originally wrote to us more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, in a letter that said that they really wanted to transition and that they wanted our help in transitioning, and wanted us to help the entire trans community, the T in LGBTQ+. And of course we're dedicated to doing that, and so we started a fund in which we give all the money that we get in tips. If we're benefiting a charity and we're having an event for it, we'll raise money for that charity. But if someone walks up and stuffs a 1 or a 5 into our brassiere, or a 20 up our hoo-ha, we take those tips and we could add them to the benefit money of the night, but we also have a special fund for those tips. And it was at first named the, now I'm going to use an offensive word to some people here, so trigger warning, the T word's coming. It was originally called the Fred the Tranny Chicken Fund, which was very amusing to drag queens 15 years ago. We have since come to learn that that T word is now offensive to a number, if not a majority, of people in the trans community, because it is the last word that some trans women hear when they are murdered. I don't mind dropping a word or two from my vocabulary for someone else's extraordinary meaning, their safety and their security. So, Pat, formerly Fred, wrote us and updated us on how their transition went and how happy they are. And they asked us to please change the name of our fund to Pat the Trans Chicken Fund. And it is now so named. This is Pat's sister. If you put M&Ms in her and do this, she poops them out, and you can eat them. A lot of scat in our house. Another reliquary. In this reliquary is a sacred marshmallow. Reliquaries are very secure. This marshmallow came from another retreat that we used to have up in the Sierra Nevada foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. There was a campsite once owned by 2 of our saints. One of them, Saint Ranch Hands, and his husband, Saint. It has to do with Disney because I used to work for Disney, and I'm gonna need my fellow sisters to write his name in the comments. Would the Mistress of Stains please remind me? They owned this camp, and they had pine cones. They're like the size of a turtle, a medium-sized turtle, that were just all over from the pine trees because they'd grown big out here. And we had an exercise where we put glitter on these pine cones, and so we called the ranch Glittering Pines, and they made a little sign for it. So at Glittering Pines, we were sitting around the campfire one night, freezing our gonads off, and we had a game of Truth or Dare. And one sister dared another sister to eat a marshmallow out of the first sister's butt crack. Now, it could have been that it was Sister Dixie Recht with the butt crack and Sister Dolly Domestique who ate the marshmallow, or vice versa. Maybe it was Dixie who ate the marshmallow out of Dolly's butt crack. I recently saw Dolly, and she said that it was our guard Rubba, who had the marshmallow eaten out of Dolly's crack, or Dolly ate it out of Rubba's crack. So the exact people are two of those three, and sands of time. This is the marshmallow with the bite taken out. Again, why is it holy? Because it reminds us of our audacity and daring of imagination, creativity, and execution. Our motto isn't just to expiate stigmatic guilt and promulgate universal joy. It is to expiate stigmatic guilt and promulgate universal joy through public manifestation and perpetual perpetration. We do shocking things that hopefully crack people's minds open, confront them with the truth of the other, or uplift them with laughter. These are candle holders that were donated to us by, I think it was Sister Rusty, rather, who donated the candle holders. You gotta have the price tag still on them, honey, or it's not campy, okay? Met Gala aside, camp laughs at the tackiness of life. RuPaul, if you're listening, I loved your definition on the Colbert Show, but if you didn't have time to get in the real aesthetic definition, it is that camp is some kind of visual or behavior that laughs at the tackiness of life, the kitschiness of people. Price tags. And we put candles in there on the altar. Those are the official candle holders of the altar. This is a white veil that was put on the altar by one of our sisters when she was a novice, to represent all novices. I believe this is the same. It's also a cloud that's attacking me! Oh, there's two! One of them molting. Psittacosis. This one was purchased and donated by myself and our former sister, Sister Rosario Jalapeno. And it's in two parts. For those of you who've known our house in Los Angeles for a long time, can you guess who this is? Who this honors? The pink chair represents being our chair nun. And this represents the sister herself. Not that this has any particular meaning, but it does open. Yop, 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 yop. Sorry, just thought of those Muppets from Sesame Street. This honors the longest-serving abbess in the Los Angeles Sisters' history. The experienced, the wise, the good counselor, the upbeat, the cheerleader of us all, the guide, the untire of the Gordian knots of our problems. Sister Buffy. Sister Buffyella, Fairyella, Pectorella, Meganunorama. I hope I got that in the right order. Wisdom, represented by the owl who has pink, and because it's got big bright eyes like she had, and the pink chair because she was our chair nun, and she always wore pink, usually pink leopard print. So we honor her. When Sister Candy dies, or Buffy didn't die, she retired and moved to Hawaii. So we wanted to keep her part of our community in some symbolic way. When Sister Candy dies, we're going to go and get like a sheep's heart or a cow's heart, burn it to charcoal, maybe pour fish sauce on it so it has funk, and then kill people with it. It's perfectly symbolic of Sister Candy. I'm running out of places to put the sacred items because there's not actually an altar in my little room where I live here. Sister Amanda Reckonwith from the San Diego Sisters donated this statue of Jesus to us. It was made in the Philippines. Let me do that again with a new perspective. Jesus. The Philippines. Well, I think it's kind of obvious why this is on our altar. It's very important experience of Christianity reflected in the three dimensions referred to by this sacred depiction of the Savior of Christianity, for those of you who are Christian. Thank you, Sister Amanda. It's meaningful to us, some of us who are older in the house, because there was a group of people who wanted to start a House of Sisters in San Diego. This was back before there was a trademark. And we, three of us, Sister Candy, Sister Tragedy Ann, and myself, went down there several times to help them, to talk to them, to train them, and to help them know how to set up a House of Sisters and get going. And they hit that ground running, girl. A sacred drinking straw with glitter, because the sisters always carry a good drinking straw. Because, you know, cocktails will steal your lips, I'm just saying. This item was also donated by Sister Rusty. Sister Rusty is of Latino heritage, which is at least half our house members are Latino here in Los Angeles, here in El Pueblo de la Nuestra Señora Reina de Los Angeles del Rio Porciuncula, the original name of our city. And this is one of the Day of the Dead dolls that you can get all over the city, including in Olvera Street. Olvera Street is one of the places in the city that has the oldest still standing structures in the entire city. And it's kind of a cultural headquarters for Latino Los Angeles, specifically Mexicano Los Angeles. And in fact, Sister Rusty's family, the Bernal family, owns Casa Bernal, that sells a lot of things from Mexico and Central America. And so Sister Rusty wanted to bring that heritage to the sisters. So he has a Day of the Dead doll dressed in fabulous drag. Also red and death represented, which for me reminds us of the struggle against AIDS. Just looking for a place to sit La Senora down here. So she